Perfect. Good morning, everyone. So we are learning programming languages. Yesterday we had a very basic introduction. Today we'll try to understand the different IDEs, and we will be learning some basic fundamentals of any programming language. So what I wanted to start off is with the concept of volatile and non-volatile. You were involved in SQL, you are learning the programming languages. SQL, and on the other side we have programming languages. Language or languages, plural form of it. When it comes to programming languages, they store data in a volatile memory, means which will exist till your program is running. Once the program has completed its execution, all the data which was being processed, stored within your program will be erased. Whereas SQL, on the other hand, any data created and stored, it will be there permanently until and unless you delete it. You start the program, you start the system, shut down it, you go back and see the data is still there. Whereas in programming languages, all the data which has been processed, stored, taken as an input, printed, are all volatile in memory. It stores till your program executes. Once your program completes its execution, the data which was being stored will be erased. That is where we need SQL. But programming languages has its own importance when it comes to the computer and the software development life cycle. Why do we need programming languages? Because it is creating a user interface. It is creating a user interface, UI. Sometimes it is called a GUI, it depends. So when it comes to your programming languages or in your SQL, we have to go with this basic fundamental. We need to provide the input. We need to process the data, and then we will go with output. This is the same fundamental how your computer works. Computer takes the inputs, process the data, and it gives you the output. But only difference is once the output has been done, and if your program has completed its execution, the data which was being stored and processed, or it might be output, it will be erased. This is very simple and basic. And the best example for your volatile memory in the hardware is RAM. And for the non-volatile, the example would be ROM. That is random access memory, read-only memory. Read-only memory is permanent. Even after the power goes off, data is stored permanently. Whereas in RAM, it stores data until and unless your computer is on. That is related to your hardware. Good. So what is that we'll be picking up today? So we'll decide one language. It's not that we need to learn everything from that language. Only request is you people have to just make sure that you're following the initial instructions. So based on your requirement, based on your language interest, you can pick any language. As I mentioned yesterday, as I've shown yesterday, you will not find much difference in the fundamentals. Now, we are learning language. We are learning a language, and in that we are trying to cover basics in these 4 days. So when it comes to any language, it has to support something called the concept of variable. It has to support the data type. It has to support operations in the form of operator or commands, command or commands, operator or operators, command or commands. So this is the basic simple topic for today, and every language will give you something called 2 things. One is input in the form of scanning. It has to take the input, it should read input. It should provide you something called output in the form of printing. So it depends on language to language. So we will learn the printing first always in any language, and then we'll try to understand the data type, variables, operators, and then we need to go with the concepts like conditional statements. Conditional statements. It varies from language to language, but the concept and the execution model will be the same. We need to learn loops, or some authors call it as iterators. Arrays, once again, some languages support it, some languages doesn't support it. It holds good for all the things. And then at last, we need to pick up the functions concept. In some languages, functions are not supported directly. We need to learn something called procedures. Procedures. Now, coming back to the fundamentals, SQL, even SQL has conditional statements, loops, functions, procedures, data types, and also variables. If you are interested in learning, if you come from a basic SQL background, you can learn something called PLSQL, that is programming language in the structured query language concept. So based on your, I'm not talking about PLSQL of Oracle or PLSQL of Microsoft SQL Server software. I'm not talking about anything. It's a general concept. These concepts which is being mentioned on the right hand side are also there in your structured query language. That is the advanced level of your SQL. So if you learn these concepts, so we can learn anything. Now the question is, which language will pick for learning? You can pick any language. At this point of time, I'll start with two concepts, two languages. One is the language which is easily adaptable. I'll take one compiled language and one interpreted language. I'll take both because we need to know some fundamental differences, that's it. So variable, data type, operators is the agenda for today. And before that, we'll be learning how to output something in your screen. First is output, variables, data types, operators. And tomorrow we'll try to learn the fundamentals of conditional statements, loops, iterators, functions, procedures. So every day when we connect for the training, we will be having two sessions in 2 hours, 40 to 50 minutes in the first session, 10 minutes break. We'll come back and we'll go with 40 minutes. 40 minutes is the agenda. Good. So let me begin with one compiled language and one interpreted language. So I'll be giving you people the options. So we have C, we have C++. Don't worry about the other concepts. We have Java, we have C# language. C#, C#, this is for the compiled list. On the other hand, for the interpreted languages, I will be picking some of the markup languages, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. This is the one which I'll be picking. JavaScript is the language which I'll be picking. So on the left hand side, you can go with Java or you can go with C#. It doesn't make much difference for you people at this point of time because you're learning a new language. When it's a new language, I usually get this question very often. Sir, I wanted to learn Java, but I heard that C and C++ is required to learn it. Sometimes people come and ask me, many of the students, I want to learn C# language. I don't know C and C++. So keep it very simple. In computer, you can learn any language. It's not dependent anywhere. No dependency is there. But why do people say that you have to learn Java? You have to learn C and C++ before you begin Java or C#. The reason is very, very simple. The concepts which I've listed like variable, data type, operators, conditional statements, loops, arrays, and functions, are supported in the language like C, C++, Java, C Sharp. All the four languages support these concepts. So usually when people start learning language, C is the first language what they pick for learning. Is it mandatory? The answer is no. If you begin learning, if you start learning C++, you have to learn. So let's assume that Chandra Prasad wants to learn C Sharp. He doesn't have any knowledge of C, C++, Java. Fine, he can learn it. Anyone can learn it, but the duration taken to learn will be comparatively longer. The reason is he has to learn all the basic fundamentals. Later, he has to learn object-oriented concepts, which is supported in C++. If you learn C and C++, and then if you start Java, 30 to 50% of the concepts are already covered. If you start learning C++, after learning C, the same concepts holds good. 30 to 50% is covered in C itself, which is revisited, or the concepts are, you'll revisit those concepts in your C++ also. So that is the reason, keeping in mind, if I want to learn JavaScript, once again, the information goes back to the same. Now the question is, when I'm learning a compiled language, when I'm learning an interpreted language, will it make any difference? No is the answer. When you deep dive into these languages, then you need all these concepts or compiled, interpreted, anything and everything. But for the next 3 days, you have to just follow very simple basics. Open the software which I mentioned, type the program, which is the basic outline of it, and then execute it. Whatever I do, you just have to repeat the same thing to get the output. As and when we progress, you'll start learn each and every line as and when we progress. Very simple. Good with this? So now keep it simple. You come from a background of biology in your PUC. I'm a civil, IP, mechanical. I'm from EC background. I'm a BA graduate. I'm a BCom graduate. It doesn't make any difference when you're learning a language as simple as learning the languages like Kannada, language, Hindi, language, Urdu, language, English, language. You have n number of languages to communicate with human beings. Exactly same way we have n number of languages to communicate with computer. As simple as that. So if I'm a person who was born in German, or it might be the Portuguese, wherever, which will be your mother tongue. Wherever you take birth, if you are born in Kerala, then Malayalam would have been your mother tongue. You are born in Karnataka, so Kannada is your mother tongue. If you're born in Andhra Pradesh, then Telugu would have been your mother tongue. So the first language what you learn is mother tongue. That's it. Exactly same thing holds good for your C, C++, Java, C Sharp, JS, anything. That will be your first language. So first language takes its own time to learn, and later on, as and when you progress, as and when you people get experience in languages, you'll have a lot of things to progress. But most of the things will be repeated. It might be any language which you learn after the first language. Keep it simple. You're learning a language to communicate with computer. That's it. If you keep this picture simple, then it is simple to everyone. So let me take a screenshot of this, and I'll call it as language basics. Language basics. I'll call it as 1. So now let's, based on the yesterday's example, As I mentioned before, I'll be going with one language. C and C++ is always my favorite to start off, but since we are in a stage where we are using i5, i3, i7, i10 processors, some of the softwares are older enough and they don't support it. And my all-time favorite is always the Turbo C. If you're interested in learning it, you can just go and search for a Turbo C. This is my favorite. Always to start off, but I'll be not picking this software because many softwares are not supported of C and C++ compilers. Hope my screen is still visible. Just waiting for this to start off. Yes. It is taking time. So I would like to begin with very basic fundamental. Hope my screen is still visible. I'm just checking with you people. Okay. So give me 10 to 15 minutes to make you people comfortable in compiled language, and later I'll be switching to many other languages which will make you people comfortable in learning. Good. I'm in Turbo C software. Just concentrate on the basic syntax. That's it. Let me go here. I'm in a black screen here. Okay. And parallelly, what I'll be doing, I have all the compilers required. I'll go to C drive. This is the folder where it is located. Concentrate on something called bin, and here we have a compiler called TCTCC. TCTCC. TC and TCC. All these are compilers. Java compiler comes with Java C. C Sharp compiler comes with Java CSC. CSC. Turbo C compilers comes with TC or TCC. Okay. Are we good with this? Perfect. Now you'll find many softwares like this to run a language, and I'll be jumping into a folder which is called as 2021, and I'll be creating a new folder called my. You can create any folder. Now watch my screen what I'll be doing. I'll be writing a very simple program which will be always programmer's favorite to create hello world program. If you're learning languages, this is the first program you'll learn always. So I'll jump into Shell. All the shortcuts will be taught to you people. Don't worry if you're interested in learning. So first I'll jump into the folder called 2021. Then I'll create a folder and it will be called as May. This is the folder where I'll be in. We have a folder here on the left hand side. You can see the folder May. Now what is that I'll be doing? So I want to write a simple C program, and then I want to write a simple C++ program. And based on that, we'll be moving into the languages like C, Java or C Sharp. Okay. What is that you people have to observe here is you have to keep on observing this area. The area which is in this one, let me take the liner. You have to keep on observing here. I'll explain some of the things which is required for your compiled concepts. I'll call this one as a.c, and behind the scene you can see that it is C source file. And anything if it is new, don't worry, because today's agenda is not to make you people learn a language. I want to show you some basic fundamentals of compiled concepts. So I'll go with zooming it. This is the program. this is my program, which is called as C. In double quotes. What is next? After writing the program, you'll save it. After saving the program, remember that any program what you people write is not understandable by your computer. You have to convert that into machine understandable language. That is MLL, machine level language. Compilation means it's not error checking. This is the first statement I listen from every fresher, college passed out, which is not right. Compilation is converting your language from one to the machine level. What is that you need to observe here is something called object file, and you don't have any errors here. After compilation, you have to do something called link. And now you'll see something called application. Anyhow, this is getting recorded, you people can observe it. So first thing what I did is write the program, save it. Later I compiled the program and then I linked it. You might be wondering, Chandra, we did not do this. We did not do this, we just directly have run the process. Let me go to DOS shell and I'll delete the backup file, I'll delete the object file, I'll delete the exe file. I'll go back to the original one. So I have only C program. Let me show you this. If you people run it, if you people run it, if you people run this, you can observe two files getting generated automatically, which is the object file and the application. Now, if you go to window and if you see the output, you will see hello world here. On the other hand, you can even do one more thing. You can go to DOS shell a.exe. Observe this. You can see the output. So the first thing, what you people have to learn. Let me quit this for now. What is that you people have to learn first? If you're learning C, C++, Java, C#, JavaScript, or any language, try to go with this basic fundamental. Do we need any software? Second, do we need editor? Third, do we need any compiler or interpreter? After doing this exercise of understanding the software, editor, compiler, or interpreter, the next thing what you people have to do is write a program. Fifth one, compile it or interpret it. You should know the basic things. 6, run the program or execute it. There is a difference between run and execute, but for now, commands get executed. Programs are the one which runs. You'll know the difference as and when we progress. For now, write a program, save the program, and then we'll go with compile and interpret. You learn any language. First thing, know the software, editors required, compilers required. Blindly learn a program to write it, save it, compile it, and execute it. That's it. If you learn this, then you are halfway done. And always my favorite is two things. My favorite. I need a notepad, which is plain text editor. Second thing, I need compiler. And third, I need command prompt or terminal. Some they call it as terminal. So this is my favorite. You take any language, I'll always go with notepad, compilers, command prompts, or terminals. A plain text editor. If any compilers needs to be installed, I'll download it and install it, and then I'll just keep on writing the hello world program. So this is the input for the people who are freshers. Always try to go with this one, that is called as imitation. This is the best thing what people have to do. Imitate. Means create whatever it has been shown on the screen, and then you start doing anything and everything which you want to do. First thing is always to imitate, and then apply your knowledge and make any changes what you want. Good with this? Great. So let me take the screenshot of this. I'll put it as now. Having said this, C, C++, Java, C#, JavaScript. So if I want to learn C++, what do I need? I need to know which is the software which supports it. All-time favorite, my Turbo C. This is the first software which I pick usually. Takes the full screen. So previously, what did we learn? We learned how to write a C program. We learned how to compile it. We learned how to execute it. Hope my voice is clear and loud. Perfect. So let me jump into DOS shell. CD2021. CD. This is my C program. Next, I'll call b.cpp. That is C++ program. So, hash include iostream.h. You'll learn these lines in detail later. And now I'm writing a C++ program, and here I'll be printing the same hello world. I'll save it. It's my always favorite to compile it, and then it's a best practice to link it. And in the type of linking, it is telling that undefined module main because there is a spelling mistake. Save it again, compile it. Best practice is to link it, and then go to DOS shell. I have a.exe C program, b.exe C++ program. When you execute a program like .exe, I don't find any difference in the output. Both look similar. But what is the difference? There is a difference which you will learn as and when we progress. But actually in C++, we expect it to be executed with the support of objects. let me go with the object class example. You should not display anything here. This is what we expect from C++. Within the main function, you need to make use of example, and from there you should go with printing it. This is your C++ actually. Let me save it. As usual, compile because of the changes and then link it. Here is the difference between your C. If I type A or B, it works. .exe by default, it's still now you will not find any difference. Output is still the same, hello world, but the difference is in your main program or the main function. So don't worry, once again, as I mentioned, we'll learn OOP concepts later, but for now, I just wanted to show you hello world, that is printing. Variable, then the data type, the very basic two data types. We need to learn the very basic two data types, and then we will be learning the operators. Input will be taken tomorrow. So if I want to execute same way, the language like Java, C#, all these are compiled languages. Now the question is, what is interpreted language? We don't need additional steps of compile and link when it comes to your JavaScript or any languages which are called as interpreted. I'll quit this. Now, we'll be taking a 10 minutes break. When we come back, what is that I'll be showing you people is the basic, very basic Java program, very basic C# program, and very basic JavaScript. Good. So I'll be stopping this recording. And I know sometimes it is boring. If it is getting bored, please let me know, because it's very much required for me for the next 2 days. I'm going with very slow pace, and I want to make you people comfortable in any language what you people learn in future. As I mentioned, it's a long program. Thank you. So 10 minutes break and recording will be stopped. It is actually